Welcome into another edition of Rick and Bubba University, the podcast. And, you know, Bubba, I'm excited about this episode because you and I, of course, have been huge fans of our guest today. If you're a fan of American football, this is one of the greatest to ever suit up and play. And we were just talking before we got started. He's been on the show before in the past, but that's been a few years past. And I'm looking now as we're about to bring him in. When we do, I've been seeing him sit down, behind the microphone, and I'm looking at you and me, and I'm looking at him.
Yeah, and we know Herschel's a couple of years older than us.
He is.
But he's aging a lot better than we are.
Yeah. So much better. So our guest today, and we're going to talk to him here momentarily, is Herschel Walker. But I do want to point you to this on Rick and Bubba University, the podcast. Tommy John has put together a line, and Bubba, we don't talk about underwear a lot because we've said before
near enough
because men don't really care about underwear until you've worn Tommy John. Now they have a women's line now too that's been pretty popular, but for the women, for the women, Tommy John's ultra breathable underwear, and for the women they have the sports bras and all that too. But they've got a range of summer ready breathable options, and summer is when your underwear really. It either can do the job or it can't.
You want the word breathable in there, Rick. You really do. Yeah.
Their cool cotton underwear for men and women is like having your own body AC. It's made from premium natural Pima cotton for enhanced airflow. It evaporates the sweat super fast, keeping you drier and cooler and more comfortable than regular cotton. You and I, when we're working out like Herschel does every day, we really need this. So if you'd like to add some chill when the summer heats up, choose Tommy John Cool Cotton Underwear. For a limited time, go to TommyJohn.com/RickBubba to get 20% off the first order. That's TommyJohn.com/RickBubba for 20% off. That's TommyJohn.com/RickBubba. Once you've worn these incredible cotton underwear, you're going to love it. It's the best pair you ever wear, or it's free, guaranteed. Tommy John, no adjustment needed. So we talked about our guest today, and we are excited to welcome to Rick and Bubba University, the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Herschel Walker.
The big dog.
Herschel, how you doing?
Hello there. How you guys doing? Hey, I beg to differ that men do wear underwear, and during this tough time now, they do need that breathable underwear and stuff. So when you guys are working out, because I'm looking at you guys and look like y'all been working out a lot, you do need those breathable underwear.
Yeah,
Herschel, you look like you just stepped off the field in Athens. You look like you could walk right back on. You're only a couple of years older than Rick and I. Man, you look in great shape. How are you doing it?
Well, I'm doing well. I'm working out every day, even more, with this pandemic going on. I haven't been traveling at all. And, I try to tell people, you got to get into a routine. And, my routine has always been working out in the mornings and stuff. And I've just doubled my workout some. So my condition right now is great. For years, for the 12 years, you may not know this. Normally, I'm at a military base every 3 weeks where I'm doing PT, combative, and all that. And now, since I'm not doing it as much, it gives me more time to get out and do my own workout. And I feel good. Knock on wood, I feel pretty good.
So, like Herschel, what does your work? I've got to know what your morning workout sounds like.
I want to know the same thing because when you hear legends,
mine is with a fork.
When you're a sports legend like you clearly are, people come up with all these. You don't know what to believe or not to believe. I remember hearing, Herschel Walker, he grew up on a farm. He never had access to any weight, so he just did core workouts long before that was ever popular, and he could do so many sit-ups by hanging by his feet at a barn, and
he tossed a Volkswagen around.
He picked up cows and he did shouldered overheads, and so I don't know what's legend and what's true. So first of all, tell us, what does Herschel Walker do to stay in great shape?
Well, most all that is true, except it wasn't cows, it was calves. It wasn't Chevy. But anyway, it's strange because, people will always ask me, and some of them think that I'm joking because they say it's ridiculous. But, I didn't grow up in a family. We loved each other, in a Christian home. But we didn't have the money to buy weights. My high school was not a school to afford all this big weight program. But my mom and father would always say you can't use excuses in life. Today everybody want to use that excuse why they can't do something. And I started doing the push-ups and sit-ups. Today at my age, which is very young, I'm still doing right now at least 1,500 to 2,000 sit-ups, not push-ups every day, doing about 3,500 to 5,000 sit-ups every day. I've increased right now on my bike.
Herschel, wait a minute. I think our feed cut out. Say that one more time.
Because I'm hearing thousands, and it can't be thousands. We're just messing with you.
No, it is. It's thousands. It's 1,500 to 2,000 push-ups, and it's anywhere from 3,500 to 5,000 sit-ups. And then I do the dips, about 500 dips or even more sometimes. It's really according on. But those I don't really count a lot until I get to 500, and I may do more because of the afternoon if I have a little bit of free time. And then for cardio, I'm doing the duck walk and then I'm creating workouts. I don't know if you've seen some of my tweets where I'm walking upstairs on my hands and all those different things.
I think you're getting shape running up that staircase behind you there. It looks like that's pretty substantial, huh?
I do the duck walk up those staircases there. One of the things that I tell people is you can work out in your home. Yeah. And people don't realize this. And I tell people this, most young moms that have a little baby that starts to walk, if they start following that baby around, doing what that baby is doing, you'll be shocked how much work they get in. People don't realize a young baby that's starting to walk, starting to move around in the home, the mom did a lot of work just doing that. And I try to tell people, I say, guys, you laugh sometimes when I talk about my old workout, but my old workout is from what people today gave them fancy names. They talk about CrossFit. And I'm like, guys, I was doing CrossFit before it was popular. You see people running with that kite, running with the thing behind them. I'm like, guys, I used to pull the tire doing the same thing. And I'm not saying that, it was just that, if I wanted to be an athlete, you got to pay the price. Nobody want to pay the price to get anything done. They think it's just going to happen, and that it doesn't work like that. You have to get out and work. I didn't even know I was going to be an athlete. The reason I started doing it is to make myself feel good from being bullied. And I think God blessed me to get an opportunity to play this game of football and run track and to do all these other things. But, it was not that I set my goal out working out to become an athlete.
Well, you said that you were way ahead of your time on the core is the key. Now, a lot of us, because we grew up differently, just our play kept our core strong. And then, of course, when you get into the generation of video games and all that, suddenly these fitness gurus came on the scene saying their core is too weak. Their core is too weak. Our core was strong just because of the way we played.
Well, that's exactly right. That's one thing, and God bless President Trump, who, he appointed me co-chairman of the President Council on Sports and Fitness Nutrition. But what's funny about it is I told them, and I wish we can get back in schools today, and I'm working on something to try to get us back in schools today. Can you believe that Herschel Walker, football player, trying to get people back in schools? And I may have a solution, but anyway, that's not promoting myself. But let me go to what you're talking about. I used to tell people about the jungle gym. I was a guy, the jungle gym that we used to play on was something that was getting us in shape when you're doing the monkey bars, when you're climbing up the rope, when you're doing all those things. And, one of the reasons they removed it because they said because of insurance. And I'm like, wait a minute, insurance. I said, a kid may fall and break an arm. He'll get better. But today we're one of the most obese countries in the world. And I said, guys, what do you want to deal with? You want to deal with being one of the most obese country in the world or breaking an arm? Kids get hurt. That's going to happen. But I think they should put that jungle gym back out on the playground, put them in different parks so kids can get out there and play because they are playing, but they don't realize that they're exercising. And that really helped them out a lot. It helped me. When I first got to the Cowboys, it was very unusual that they had a fitness contest that involved climbing ropes, involved doing dips, involved doing the monkey bars. And that was very, very difficult, but I think that made athletes better.
Yeah, I haven't seen people do dips even in you don't see dips anymore. I remember when we
because they're unpleasant.
Well, when we played ball in the 80s, if you had to do dips. I don't even see people doing them anymore.
Well, people are doing more fancier stuff, but what's strange about it is, and I tell people this, people laugh, but as a Herschel still around doing the same thing already done. And I tell people all the time that, I say that one of the things I keep doing this is I say, people talk about my age and I don't see age. I say, my problem is I'm thinking of some kid back in some small little town and he's working out because he's been reading about Herschel Walker. all he's been reading is about Herschel Walker, and he want to compete against that Herschel Walker. So when he shows up, I want to let him know I'll be your Huckleberry because I'm going to be ready. And that's the way I look at it all the time, is I'm going to be ready to compete whenever my name is called. It doesn't matter my age. I got nephews and nieces today that are very, very good athletes. My nephew Marlon was at Clemson. My son, who has he's won about 6 or 7 world championships and all that different things. And my niece, all of them, they're very, very good athletes today. So they always want to compete against their uncles and aunts and stuff because they're trying to make a name for themselves. And my thing is, guys, that you have YouTube today. And I don't want you guys putting me on YouTube showing that you can beat me. Because then if you beat me, then everybody in America think that they're supposed to beat me too. So I want them to know, no, that don't happen right now. Probably when I'm about 90, 95, then I may start letting them win a couple. But right now, I got to win.
You got to. Still competitive. And again, the kind of workout you're talking about does not require a big investment. You got everything you need right there.
We used to call that country strong, right?
Oh,
where you were just good at doing the things that you normally would do. You didn't have to have a lot of equipment, but the moving, the pushing, the lifting, the sit-ups.
Well,
that was country strong.
Wood.
Yeah.
Hey, think about chopping wood. You use to chop wood, and now people use the sledgehammer on the tire. Mm-hmm. And I said, guys, that's the same movement. So it is strange. And I love when you said country strong, but it just was working out. You didn't realize that you were doing it, but you were doing it. And that's why I said, guys, what the movement that you're doing and hitting the tire with the sledgehammer and turning the tire over. I can tell you about some of the playing things we used to do, and that was working out. And I haven't changed that much from that. There's no doubt I've increased it by seeing some of the new technology that they have today that I may like, and I may say, that'd be great to do. And I've added more to my workout, but I stay with some of the same thing. In the core, your stomach is your engine, and you got to remember that. You got to get that engine together. And even though some people, they pile it on that core. And I tell people, you can pile it on, but I can help you cut it up. Because that core is the engine of the body. You want to keep that core strong because it helps your back. It helps a lot of things, your posture. And the core is very, very important.
Thank you, Herschel. Now
Herschel is talking to me today. By the way, this is Herschel talking to Bubba.
We will jump into other topics as our interview with Herschel Walker continues on Rick and Bubba University, the podcast. So Gabby is a name you need to remember. And Bubba, you and I have gotten so much feedback from people who've gone to the website, Gabby.com/Rick Bubba. And here's how it works. It doesn't cost you anything. So, right now, Speedy is somewhere listening because we said something about free. But you may not know whether or not you're paying too much for your homeowners or your automobile insurance, and there's a way to find out. Go to Gabby.com/Rick Bubba. Take about 2 minutes. They're going to get some information on your insurance coverage, on your automobile and your home. And then, bam, they're going to give you 40 different quotes from all the big names in insurance: Progressive, Nationwide, Travelers, Farmers, State Farm. They're all going to come up, about 40 different ones. We've had people saying that it saved them $1,200, $1,500. The average is about $825 a year that people are paying too much for the same exact coverage. Now, if you look and see your coverage compared to the others is the best, then you've got the best and you're being smart with your money. They'll never sell your information, so there'll be no annoying spam or robocalls. Are you paying too much for homeowners and or automobile insurance? There's one way to find out, absolutely free. Gabby.com/Rick Bubba. That's Gabby.com/Rick Bubba. So continuing our conversation with Herschel Walker. So we talked about fitness, which, Rick and Bubba, we're big on fitness. And we're trying to do better, Herschel. You'd be proud of it. We're trying to do better.
Trying.
We're doing better. You'd be proud. We've lost some weight.
Herschel, we got to find some cartilage somewhere for the knees.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Well, that happens. But remember, you got to wear good shoes as well.
Yeah, you're right.
Your shoes matter a lot when you're out doing a lot of things because, you want good support. And that's what I try to tell people. And age do sit in. I don't want to say it's not going to sit in because that does sit in, but that's when you adjust your workout to fit your age. I think that's what people got to do then, is adjust your workout to fit your age.
Yeah, I knew it was time when I was getting injured sleeping. I'm like, how in the world did that happen?
I like when I wake up and I'm hurt and I can't remember why. I just go, I'm hurt. I don't know what I did.
Age eventually gets us all, but you can stay young with the stuff you're talking about. So, Herschel, we talked about fitness, which I know that is a passion of yours. And recently, you now have been stepping into the political arena. And it shouldn't be, but it has been somewhat controversial. Your story sounds very similar, and people may be surprised by this, by my parents and Bubba, your parents. You know, both of our groups of parents at one time, they supported the Democratic Party. And their quote was, when they left the Democratic Party, was, "I'm not leaving the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left us." And the party began to stand up for things that our parents just could not support. But it's a little different when you are African American, because as you've been talking about, there's almost this underlying which is not a truth, that if you're African American and you're not Democrat, then somehow you've betrayed your ethnicity. And you and others, you're not.
I think Joe Biden suggested that, right?
Yeah. But you're not alone. There's been others. Condoleezza Rice has made comments. I know Larry Elder talks about this, and Walter Williams and Ben Carson and other conservatives. But how did this happen with you personally?
Well, it wasn't that it happened personally. I started educating myself on different things, and one of the things I tell people is you got to be a free thinker, in the sense that you got to decide for yourself. Just because someone else used to do something doesn't mean you're supposed to do it. You look at a party as what's best, or what you think is doing the best for this country.
Right.
It is hard right now that people won't speak out for the United States of America. We're the greatest country in the world. Do we have our faults? Yes, we do. But when you start talking about the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, you start looking at what they are doing for you and for not just for your race, but for the United States of America. And as I was looking at that, I said, and not that I left the Democratic Party, I still have family members in the Democratic Party. But what has become sad to me is just what you said. Because you're an African-American person, and you don't like the Democratic Party, now people are going to come after you. People are going to calling your names. People are going to start doing these things to you, because they're going to almost force you. And I said, yeah, nobody's going to force me, because I'm in the United States of America. And if people really want to get down to the true facts of the Democratic Party, and that's what I want to ask questions sometimes to people, and nobody want to answer that. I said, when you look back at the Democratic Party, you're talking about racism. The Democratic Party was one of the most racist parties of both of them, because they were the one that wanted to keep people in slavery. The Republican Party was the one that wanted you out of slavery. But I said, let's not even go that far back. I said, for what the Democratic Party stands for today, it's kind of sad to me. I hear so many people today talking about their peaceful protests. And I said, now, am I colorblind? Am I really colorblind? I don't see peaceful protests. And I said, some of the things they say I don't stand for. And I'm not saying all of them are wrong, but I said, what's great about America is I have a right to choose. And I try to tell everybody, whether you're African American or what, look at what's best for this country. If our leaders are not doing it, because in the Constitution of the United States, I think it's Article 14, the Democratic Party, when you're taking an oath to office, it said, I will defend the Constitution of the United States, foreign and domestic. We're defending the Constitution of the United States, meaning law and order. Well, right now, it seems like they're now trying to get rid of the law and order that I fight for. And the Republican Party is not trying to do that. And they won't even take a stance. That's what is upsetting to me. Right now, we have an election year. My thing is, guys, people need to see who you are. Don't come to me like you're a wolf in sheep's clothing by saying all these great words. Say, do you want to defend the Democrat? Do you want to defund the police? Or say who you are? Because if you're going to continue to stay in Washington fighting for the United States of America, people need to know who you are. Because now don't hide saying, oh, you like this, but yet you have never voted for it. I've been upset because I said, guys, do you know, and you guys see this, in the last 2 weeks, they've had 3 or 4 hearings they brought the AG in, but they wanted to just do political speeches and make him look bad when they asked him to come in and answer questions.
Yeah.
Then they brought the tech people in where they wanted to try to talk about tech. They had no clue. They were talking about the wrong person, the wrong company with the wrong people, so they had that wrong. Then they brought the Dr. Fauci and all them people in to talk about the pandemic to try to make the president look bad that he wasn't doing the right job. And I said, but what's going on in America is this protest, and what's going on in America is people out dying. When are they ever going to have a hearing on that and do something about it? This didn't just happen yesterday. In 2016 was the first time Calvin took a knee and they had a hearing, but what did they ever do? So I said, guys, you need to look at that and not be fooled by what people are telling you, because it's like, what are you doing for me in office? And that's the reason I get upset. And I said, guys, I'm not saying anything wrong. What really, really, really upset me, I don't sleep. And I think you guys know this. I sleep maybe 3.5 hours a night. Well, since this thing has happened, I've been trying to change things in this country through what I can do. I was watching I'm able to, and I said, people have educated Herschel Walker. Then I'm able to go on the internet and I started looking at things. I was looking at people holding up a BLM sign, burning the Holy Bible, burning a United States flag, and burning a cross. And I said, no. People got to stop. If we are supporting this, it is wrong. And if people don't want to stand up for stuff like that, there is a problem somewhere. And I don't hear anyone in the Democratic Party denouncing doing anything like this. Julia, if you come get the door, I said, that is a problem that we have. And that is what I stand up for. Sorry about that. My dog want to get on camera. But I said, that's what I was saying that I'm standing up for. And people get upset when I do that. I said, guys, I'm not afraid to do that because I was raised from the Bible. My parents taught me law and order. And I said, I am sorry. Herschel Walker today have white people in his family. Herschel Walker today have Asian people in his family. Herschel Walker today have Hispanic people in his family. Herschel Walker today has a son that is mixed. He's Italian and he's Spanish and he's black. I even have a Russian girl in my family. And you know what? We're all mutts. We're all mutts, and I love every one of them. So I'm not saying Black lives doesn't matter. They do. I'm saying the organization is something Herschel Walker don't stand for because of what they say. And America lives matter. And we need to remember that it ain't about you. And I hate to tell people, God didn't put us on this world about ourselves. He put us here to help him and not to put any other ones down and separate people. And that's all I'm saying. The organization of BLM, I don't know them, but I looked them up. And what they stood for is not what I stand for. Yep. And I said, guys, in Washington, if you want to get something passed, don't you have to have two groups coming together, the Republican and the Democratic? And I looked and I said, wait a minute, they don't support the Democrat. So that means they've alienated themselves against the Republican. So nothing is ever going to get passed. And then I'm not sure about this. Herschel's not sure. I said, are they a 501c3? That's one I asked. Are they a 501c3? And I said, I think they are. Well, if you have a 501c3, some of the bylaws is that you cannot have political bias. Well, if you're a 501c3, and I could be wrong. And I said, people need to look at this. If they are a 501c3, that political bias is just Democratic. So why is they held to a different standard than anyone else 501c3? And I said, people have to be just. If the law is not good for one, it can't be good for all. So let's get back to what this country was built on, law and order. Let's get back on what is respect. And do we need equality? Yes, we do. But the way you get it is not by fighting. The way you get it is by communication. And I said, I'd love to be part of those communication. I think that's what you have to do because everything seems to be divisive today. No one want to talk about it.
We're talking to Herschel Walker on this edition of Rick and Bubba University, the podcast.
Herschel, you make great points, and we agree with everything you said. I think the thing that's disturbing to me, too.
One thing that's great about America, if you don't agree with me, that is wonderful because we can talk about it.
Right.
Yeah. And we don't need to be angry to each other about it. And I said, that's what's wonderful about America.
Yeah. Well, I feel like no matter what your political persuasion is, we should all be able to agree that you shouldn't be able to burn down a federal courthouse. But we got people in our government now who will not say that on camera. They just will not admit that we shouldn't burn a courthouse down. Look, we love the fact that you can protest, that you have the right to redress the government. But when you start throwing bricks and burning things, it's no longer a protest, it's a riot, which is illegal.
Well, they said it's peaceful. It's peaceful. I'm like, what is peaceful about throwing a brick?
Nothing.
And one thing, people got upset about me because it hurts everybody's right to a peaceful protest. And I said, no, during these times, we can put something in place. And I said, peaceful protest, let's say a peaceful protest is from 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You're out after night, that means there's going to be problems. So you need to go home and you all get arrested. That's from Denzel movie. You'll either want to go home or go to jail because it's not peaceful anymore. And when you have people that won't even stand up to say that and say that police officers are the problem, and all they're doing is defending the courthouse, or we pay taxes. So can I sue those Congress people or those governors or those mayors that saying this is peaceful, that these people can do that? Should I sue them? Because if they're going to increase my taxes or I have to pay these taxes, because we're paying taxes to pay for those buildings. So do I have the right to do that? Because why are we paying taxes? Even today, I'm going to ask y'all a question that is kind of interesting. And I say, now, we're not in Washington. We expect the people in Washington to defend us. And they can't even vote whether to give that stimulus bill money.
All right.
Well, are they getting paid?
Yes. They ain't missing no paycheck.
They ain't never missed one.
So there's people sitting here that's not getting paid, waiting for the ones that are getting paid to decide whether you're going to get anything. I don't even get a stimulus check, but they're getting paid. So what incentive do they have to help you?
Nothing.
Yeah, they're not out starving or trying to make ends meet.
No.
And that's why I say, guys, that's why I say to people, guys, I think we're the greatest country in the world. We've got great leaders, but you have to call it what it is. We need people that's going to go to office and shake it up. Shake it up, and not have what I call the grandpa effect. What I mean by the grandpa effect is people that's been there forever.
Yeah,
that's never going to change.
Yep.
The same old thing happened.
Yep.
And I said that may be the problem we have. And I even tell people this. People talk about AOCs and all those young women that are doing some different things than what I will agree with. But I told them, I said, guys, you know what's so funny about that though? They were voted in by their people, so I will respect them for that. I may disagree with their action, but they are changing things. And I said, that's what we need. I don't have to agree with them. Yep. We need to put people in that can do the same type of thing they are doing, that fighting against them. Not people that's going to cower down to them and just go with whatever they said, but people that's going to fight against that action. That's what we have in the United States of America, is we can vote. That's why I said, guys, you know what? I don't agree with going out destroying anyone's property because that's wrong. I don't agree with taking anyone's property. That's stealing. That's against the law. What I agree with is going through this justice system and try to correct it, because there are things in it that we need to correct. And one thing is one of the worst things that ever happened, like President Trump or not, like him or not, he's the president of the United States. And you got to respect that office. And if anyone should support the United States of America, it should be your president. I don't want him to support Russia or China or some of these other countries. I want him to support the United States of America. So show him the respect, and maybe if they get along with him a little bit, maybe they can see some different things change. Some of the presidents that I didn't vote for went to office, and I wasn't upset. I respect them as a president, and I will continue to do that. Well, that's what happened at the very beginning of his inauguration. Mm-hmm. Many of the Democratic Party didn't even show up. And that's their choice. But I'm saying if the mom and dad are not doing the right thing at home, how can you expect the kids to do it as well?
Yeah, we
Herschel, when are you running?
Yeah, right. We need you.
I just tell people it is something that I see, and that's the reason I'm speaking up, and I'm trying to get other people to speak up. Because I said, guys, if I'm saying anything wrong, I want somebody to come and help me to understand. Help me to understand. And something, if you got 1 minute, something that's very serious. With them changing the names of the Washington Redskins, this is very interesting. So they asked myself, and I had another friend, I ain't even gonna call his name, who's white. they were asking us on the show if we think the Redskins should change their names. And I said, now, why are you asking a black guy and a white guy if the Washington Redskins should change their name? I said, you should ask a Native American. Why are you asking me? I don't know. It doesn't bother me. So what was strange is I decided to do some research. Because remember, I went to the University of Georgia because I'm starting to get smarter there. So I decided to do some research. So the first thing I did is I called some of my friends of the Seminoles, the Florida Seminoles.
Right.
And they said, Herschel, we're okay with the Florida State being called the Seminoles. As a matter of fact, we've talked to them about it, and we agreed on some things, and we like the name we call the Seminoles. So now I'm flipping over to the Washington Redskins. Whereas before I can go into my research, I happened to go to Gary Clark, who wrote an article I'm not sure if it's like a couple of years ago, because this came up before a little while.
Yeah,
it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Well, what was interesting, you remember in that article he wrote, and he said what he did is he went to some reservations. And he asked the people on the reservation who you should be asking that question. And he said 95% of them was okay with the Washington Redskins be called the Washington Redskins. The other 5% didn't like them because they were Dallas Cowboy fans. Why are you asking people that has nothing to do with something, if something should change? And listen to this. I ask people about the reparation. And I'm going to tell you something that shocked me. My mom was in her 80s. And as a guy, when you start talking about whether things should change, go to your mom. Why are you asking an 18-year-old if something is racist? They don't even know what it is. I said, go to your grandparents. Go to them and start asking them. I asked my mom something. My mom, she's a minister. My mom and dad, they were some of the greatest people in the world. Well, my mom said, Bo, my nickname is Bo, so whenever you talk to Bo know I'm the original Bo. Anyway.
We're going to tell him that.
Yeah, but my mom said, Bo, I don't think anyone should get anything. She said, who are they going to give the money to? She said, I think things are moving along pretty well. She said, it's slowly moving, but it is moving. And she said, have anyone thought about paying the white people that died in the Civil War to free you from slavery? And I said, oh, geez, they're not going to want to talk about that one.
No.
So I said, when she thought of that, I said, Mom, you're right. Everyone that's coming in talking about their reparation wasn't even around 150 years ago. They wasn't even around 200 years ago to understand what went on. And should that be equality made? Yes, it does. And that's what I've been talking about, guys. To get equality done, you got to get with these companies. You got to get with this government and say, guys, this is the way we do it. We talk about getting equality done, but not just for African America. It's for a lot of different things. We need it. Yes, I agree. We got to get into the inner city. We got to get better schools to these inner cities. We need to get better schools there. I agree. I totally agree. I agree. Everything happened to George Floyd was terrible.
Yep.
I agree, but I still love the United States of America.
Well, on that note, and you probably know the question then, I'm sure you've already been asked this. So, we talk about going to older people because of their wisdom. And I was once told by one of the first guys that I ever worked for that, because I could be a little bombastic when I was young and
Rick, not you,
and full of all kinds of vinegar and other things. And he said, you need to learn not to offend the alligator till you get across the river. And I thought there was a lot of wisdom in that. He said, if you want people to listen to you, and you're making this point, Herschel, and this goes now to the kneeling for the national anthem. You played professional football. You with the USFL and then the NFL. So you were in this position. You were there. You've experienced it. And I agree that bigotry and racism still exists, sadly. And those of us who have a biblical worldview like you, until Christ comes and redeems this place, evil is always going to be here to some extent. He's the only one that's going to. And he also is where we find equality at the foot of the cross. All of us of every ethnicity, one race of people in equal need of redemption and supposed to be in one church. And we haven't done very good with that either. But if you want people to listen to what is being said and to follow the narrative, you certainly don't want to be offensive for no reason. Sometimes you have to be offensive, even as followers of Jesus. If somebody wants you to compromise Christ, it may offend them that we won't do it, but that's a biblical mandate. But you shouldn't offend people unnecessarily if you want them to hear you. If you were in the NFL, would you try to go over to Colin Kaepernick and the others and say, guys, we can talk about the things that need to be addressed with, police brutality. That the answer is not to get rid of police; it's to deal with the individuals like the Derek Chauvins of the world. And we can talk about the ongoing struggle of equality, with minorities in this country, including, African Americans. But if we go out there and kneel for this national anthem, we're going to cause unnecessary offense with people that we want to hear the message. Would you kneel or not kneel?
Oh, no, I would not kneel. I would not kneel because I said this is the United States of America. And you're right in the sense that I said, guys, we have to communicate. And that's all I've been telling everyone, guys, we have to communicate. Just kneeling is making what statement and saying what. And I understand this. They said police brutality. You're right, but 99% of the cops are very, very good people. They're not bad. And they will even say, you know what? We probably need to update our training. This is what's so interesting. When you want to win the Super Bowl, you go out and you buy better players to win the Super Bowl. When you want to win the NBA title, you go out and buy better players to win the NBA title. If you want better teachers, you got to put more money in teaching, get better teachers to teach. Now, where you get that, let's take money away from the police, you're going to get better police.
All right.
I'm not sure whoever thought of that scenario. And I'm saying, guys, I'm not saying that I'm not kneeling because, first of all, I'm not kneeling because I'm a Christian. I think, and then my thing and after I saw the thing with the burning of the Bible, the flag and the cross, Herschel Walker never kneel because that's not who I am. And I do feel that if you're in a car and someone robs a bank, you're just as guilty. And that's why I told people, I said, guys, during these BLM peaceful protesters, you may have some that throwing a brick. Well, why are those peaceful protesters not getting him out, getting him to the police? Because they know they want to be peaceful. And if they go right along with him throwing a brick, I don't care if you have 1,000 peaceful ones and one bad one, those 999 of them need to get that him or whoever it hurt out of that peaceful protest. That's the way I look at it. And I said, guys, so it's not peaceful if someone is throwing a brick, throwing a fireball, out doing something that's destructive to what you're supposed to be doing. And that's all I'm saying. I said, because we are in the United States of America. And the thing is, what's great about it, and people got upset when I tweeted this. I said, guys, if you don't like the United States, you can leave. Because this country give you the right. They don't hold you. They give you those freedom that you can get up and you can leave. We're not like these other countries that got to keep you here and give and punish you to say something bad. You have the right to say what you want to say. And I'm not going to bother you, but I want to sit down with you and figure out why you said it and understand why you feel like that. I said, because I want to know why you feel like that. And I understand, you said equality. And yes, you do. But how do we get there? You don't get there by alienating against someone else. You get there by coming together, not divisive, not fighting. We already fought that war. Remember, it was called the Civil War. We already fought that. Why are we not able to sit down with each other and break bread with each other and talk to each other? And I said, that's what we want to do. But I'm going to go back to something. It starts out with the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Because it seems today they won't even sit down to discuss anything.
No.
Everyone has their agenda where they want to put their agenda out there. They don't care what anyone says. And it's like, guys, it's not about you when you go to that office. It's about the United States of America. What is best for the United States of America? And you got to be honest. If you're not going to be honest, why are you there in office? If you see something, make sure it is the truth. And what's sad about today, you can't even look at the news without getting people's opinion and not the news.
That's right. Today,
everyone want to give their opinion and not the true news.
Yeah.
So they slant how you look at things. And I said, think of the people that in these little country towns, like in my little town, Wrightsville. They can't go to work, so they're outside working around the house. They're doing things around the house. So the only chance they get to come in is late at night. They get to come in and sit down, and they want to catch up with what's going on in the world. They turn the TV on, and they're looking at some channel. I'm not going to give anyone any publicity, but they turn the TV on, and all of a sudden they get in someone's opinion that they thinking is true. But that's someone's opinion. It's not the truth of what's really going on. peaceful protesters. Well, they have graffiti all over the courthouse. They're trying to saw down a fence. They're doing that. Like, wait a minute, peaceful protest. But they don't see that. Let's not show them that. No. We just want to show a police that's arresting someone. But they didn't show that police arresting that person that just threw that brick. They don't show that. They just show it the other way. And I said, guys, that's sad.
Herschel, let me ask you this, changing gears just a little bit. Donald Trump has been a polarizing president in a lot of ways, and you've known him for a long time. Used to work for him. What are your thoughts on Donald Trump?
Well, you know what's interesting is President Trump, Donald, he's an interesting man. He tweets. He tweets a lot of stuff. He tweets a lot of stuff. But I tell people, don't go by what he tweets. Go by what he does. And people need to realize that. What do this president of the United States do? Well, people haven't given him the credit. I'm going to start. I want people to, and I tell people, don't listen to Herschel Walker, because I like President Trump. I've known him for a long time. I know he's not a racist. Little Ivanka and little Donald, with me and my ex-wife, and he didn't have nobody there to protect them. They're with a black guy. So they hung out. They were with me most of the time. So they hung out with me. So I don't think he's a racist. Do people even know Donald Trump was one of the first people to let African American and Hispanic and people in his country club in South Florida. I mean, that was not even called for. He did that in South Florida, but he's a racist. But let's go besides that. Let's go with what this man is doing in Washington alone, meaning he had to fight the Democratic Party every step of the way. When he first got in, remember, the Republican Party wasn't really sure of him, but I said, the guy is making a difference. He is changing things. And I said, guys, his 3 years he's been in office has been one of the most toughest 3 years of any president. Yeah. But he's done some amazing things since he's been here. And I just said, can you give him? And I'm hoping he can get 4 more years. And some of these people come to their senses and say, guys, let's give him a chance and see what he does. Because give him a chance to see what he does. The guy's doing some amazing things. And I don't even need to go down the list, but give him credit where credit is due, because he's not getting it from the news media, so he's got to tweet. He got to tweet these crazy things out and stuff, because that's the way he's getting people attention. Otherwise, he got 10 million followers. Hey, maybe I need to start tweeting crazy things out to get that many followers or something.
Well, Herschel, we thank you for taking time to be with us. I know you're in high demand. You got a lot going on, and thank you for standing up and trying to get our country back to just civil ability to sit down and even agree to disagree. We've lost that. We just scream and yell, and we don't listen, and we don't talk, and we don't communicate, and we can't roll out a narrative and then have someone say, well, let me tell you where I disagree. And I hope and pray we can get back to that, because as you stated at the beginning, that is what makes this country great, is the ability for people to be free and be responsible with their freedom. And
there's only one good old U.S. of A.
Yep, there's only one. You tear this down, the question is, where do we go? Mm-hmm. And I think some of the young people don't understand that.
Well, Rick and Bubba, I want to thank you guys, because you brought me on, you asked me questions, and I talked almost the whole time and stuff. And, and that tells you that you're doing the right thing by communicating. But, I owe you guys to come back on the show and let y'all ask me questions so I can answer them rather than me talking.
No, we like to hear you talk.
Well, the reason why we do this podcast, people get to hear us for 4 hours a day. And, when we have guests, they'd rather hear the guests talk, not us.
Well, thank you guys for bringing me on, and y'all keep doing what you do.
And come see us when you get back out again.
Yeah, you get out.
We'll do some sit-ups together.
Yeah, as a matter of fact,
I'm ready. Hey, I told y'all, no matter how much you pile it on, I'll help you cut it up.
Thank you. I looked at my workout today, and I thought doing 30 sit-ups was big, and I've just torn it up and threw it in the trash.
Yeah, I'm so embarrassed.
Herschel Walker, thank you for being on this edition of Rick.
Hey, you know what's so funny? Now, let me hear the alligator phrase again, because I like it and I want to use it.
I was told, don't offend the alligator till you get across the river.
All right. Hey, I'm going to use that, and I'm going to pretend it's my saying. So if you're okay with it,
that's fine.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I heard it from Malcolm Street too, who was one of my first bosses. So,
and I think he quoted somebody else.
It's out there. You can use it. Thanks, Herschel.
All right, then. Thank you. Now.
Thank you, Herschel Walker, our guest this week on Rick and Bubba University, the podcast.